Hello. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Dane von Almen. I'm a USF nursing student and I am a gerontology minor. This is my current topic presentation. My topic is on soccer training for older adults. I chose this topic of soccer because I grew up playing the sport of soccer since I was 3 years old, up all the way through high school, and still from time to time I play it. I refereed soccer games for a short time as well, to make a little bit of money and stay connected to the game during my time in college. And now I thought, you know what? I wonder if soccer could be used as training for our older adult, for our 65 plus population, because I see it in such high regards, and I thought, how could it not? Well, let's see if the research backs that up in this presentation. So dive in along with me and let's find out a little bit more about soccer training for older adults. So I chose my article from Science News, and the article is titled Soccer for Untrained 70-Year-Old Men Yields Amazing Results. Now, this article represents research done by the University of Copenhagen at the Copenhagen Center for Team Sport and Health in Denmark. And their research generally showed that untrained elderly men at around the age of 70 get markedly fitter and healthier as a result of just playing soccer. So let's get a little bit more specific, because those are some general statements, but we really want to dig into the science, the research, right? Well, the scientific study that was completed had a total of 27 untrained men as their participants. They're age 63 to 75, so a little bit younger on the older adult spectrum. And they were randomized into either a soccer group, a strength training group, or an active control group. The two training groups, the strength training group and the soccer group, exercise for 1 hour twice a week for 4 months in total, so 16-week long study. The results that they found were that the inactive elderly men improved their oxygen uptake by 15% and their performance during interval exercise by as much as 50%. And this muscle function improved by 30% as well, and their bone mineralization in the femoral neck increased by 2%, the femoral neck being in the thigh, the femur. Now, one of the lead researchers for this study, Professor Peter Krusta, he states in this study that the previous studies that he's done have shown that 70-year-old men with lifelong participation in soccer possessed a postural balance and rapid muscle force that was comparable to that of 30-year-old untrained men. So he's saying here, this is really promising, and this made it so that we want to see whether soccer could be used as training to maybe improve people's postural balance or their rapid muscle force, considering the fact that 70-year-old men who played soccer for their entire lives have such great postural balance and such great rapid muscle force. So with that in mind, I wondered, okay, this study didn't really look at postural balance, but let's see whether soccer training can improve postural balance and rapid muscle force. So I went out, did some more research off of this article, and wanted to see what kind of findings I could come to. So I found a systematic review titled Recreational Soccer as Sport Medicine for Middle-Aged and Older Adults. And this systematic review looked at a number of research studies, and from those research studies, they came to some broad conclusions. They found that when older adults played recreational soccer, 3 to 7 people aside in an outdoor field, which is like a typical exhibition match, or on an indoor court for 12 to 52 weeks, they found significant positive adaptations in cardiorespiratory capacity, which is in line with the oxygen uptake of 15% being improved, body composition, lower limb muscle function, and strength in untrained, healthy, and unhealthy middle-aged and older adults, which is very cool, very great to see, very exciting. And however, though, they did not find that postural balance was as responsive to change when these older adults participated in recreational soccer training. So that might indicate to us that the postural balance is not as receptive to change in these already older adult folks, or maybe it's possible that soccer is not the right type of training to improve postural balance in these older adults. It's possible that in order to have that postural balance that they found in the older adults in the Copenhagen researchers' previous study, that they need to have played soccer for a long, lifelong period of time, not just 12 to 52 weeks, not just a few months. I went on to find another article. This one's a randomized controlled trial. And it's titled The Effects of 52 Weeks of Soccer or Resistance Training on Body Composition and Muscle Function in 65-year-old healthy males. So this one includes a study design that is fairly similar to the first one, the Copenhagen researchers one, but for a much longer period of time, 52 weeks. So they found that those in the soccer training group after 52 weeks led to decreases in BMI and increases in SOD2 gene expression. Now you might be wondering, what the heck is SOD2 expression? Well, SOD2 is a gene that improves the antioxidative capacities of our body to fight stuff like free radicals, which we know can cause damage to different parts of our body and cause inflammation. And we know that inflammation leads to a higher likelihood for problems like heart disease and problems like cancer. So this study is finding that SOD2 upregulates that gene expression, like we talked about in class, the upregulation of genes with exercise, that soccer training can potentially lead to decreases in the likelihood of stuff like heart disease and stuff like cancers, which is very, very cool. It also found an improved response to a standardized glucose challenge test after 16 weeks of the intervention period. So we're seeing some positive metabolic changes as well, which is also exciting and ties into my next portion of my presentation, which is how does any of this relate to class, what we learned in our physical activity and aging class? Well, soccer is literally a group-based high-intensity interval training. We learned in class that HIIT training is one of the best types of trainings that we can do with older adults to improve cardiorespiratory capacity and metabolic health. Well, soccer literally involves fast runs, intense actions, stops, turns, jumps, and unorthodox movements during normal play, forcing someone to go from walking to jogging to running all in a period of seconds. It also gets the heart rate going like we want to see in high intensity interval training programs as well. So like we learned with HIIT, improving cardiovascular, cardiorespiratory, and metabolic health, this is also demonstrated in these studies looking at soccer training. And lastly, how does this impact our lives or society? Well, we want our training programs for our older adults to be variable and fun so that it increases adherence, it keeps them coming back and wanting to exercise. We don't want boring, monotonous exercises that are no fun. I can tell you from playing soccer my whole life that soccer is a highly random sport, a highly free flow sport that is very fun and group based as well. It increases socialization. Like we want our older adults getting out and interacting with people, having fun. And soccer is exactly a sport that can do that for them because it's so heavily based in team play. And lastly, we want to encourage our older adults, you can play sports too. It's not, yes, there is a risk for falling, but we know that the benefits heavily outweigh the risks and that it is highly beneficial to get our older adults involved in playing sports. So thank you for being here. These are my references. Thank you for having me. And that's my presentation, Soccer Training for Older Adults.